All right, a lot of times I start off videos by saying, hey, what you need to be better at. But this one, I want to kind of touch on some of the things that we did good. We're going to talk about passing and catching, so we will get to the bad part. But let's talk about some of the good. So one of the things that happens, like when you first start a possession, a player must make a good decision. Hey, do I catch it in a jump stop? Do I quick finish? Do I split stance? Then they have to make a read, like the skill is that to pivot, is it to clock pass to somebody? That's the skill. Then they have to make either another read or execution. So, did he want the ball in his left hand? I threw it to his right. That's bad execution. Even if I pivoted, clock pass, if I don't have good execution in where I locate the ball, then that's bad execution. So, a lot of times that's kind of the progressions. And like once you kind of know where you kind of fall short, you know where to pinpoint your training. So we'll use like some of this. So, Carroll right here, he gets a rebound. He doesn't dribble, which is good, but he also doesn't pivot away. So if he kind of reverse pivot away from the ball pressure, that would have been good. And his feet, he kind of dribbles before he pivots. Now here, Blaze makes the decision. He says, "Hey, this is half court. They've been trapping, so I'm just gonna catch it here and not cross half court." So that's a great decision. So now he looks to see what's the best decision to make. All right. And then he does, quick burst, cuts him off. All right. So then he attacks well past half court. So he can have the option to retreat dribble if he gets trapped. Because if you cross right here, you can't retreat. You're just stuck in the coffin corner. So he dribbled past the coffin corner, which is a good skill to have and good decision to make. Now here's something that everybody needs to watch. Blaze doesn't retreat dribble a ton, although on varsity he would need to, but this is JV. So him standing up and just throwing the ball is good enough. But if you're Nico's size, Nico would have to think, I need to retreat dribble to give myself space to pass it because I'm not as tall as him. The smaller you are, the more skillful you need to be. All right, we'll back it up one last time because I want you to see as soon as this guy peels off, Nico runs and finishes the triangle up here. All right, so that was good. And of course, if you know the rules, Blaze takes on two. Pass, pass, opposite. I believe this could have been your offense. Now, the only thing Carroll could have been better is the bottom block to make the rotation further, and he would have a layup if they rotated. He kind of stays in the middle, so any one of these three guys can rotate to him, and they do. So he stays in the middle instead of being way down there on the block to where it's just be him and the obvious rotator. Anyway, he gets fouled on this, but this was really a good play overall. Don't cross half court till I'm ready. It's on me if when I want to cross it. All right, take on two defenders, pass, pass, hit the extra guy, and then we get fouled. All right, here's another solid possession. We get the ball, we skip it across. Stedman takes on two, so now we're about to get a pass because there's two on the ball right here. So we pass it, get a rotating defender, and now we bobble the ball and we don't finish it. But So, like, if you notice, Fallon doesn't catch it clean, and now we see like how much stuff like that matters. We're about to get into catches, and so we don't get the layup, and that's kind of what was happening a bunch. Is down court we weren't making the plays after we broke the press to make them get out of their stuff. So now let's get into the passing and catching the ball. Now, remember, I'm highlighting both the good and the bad when we're doing this. So I really like this because, like, Blaze catches the ball, he's about to dribble, and then he makes the decision when this guy's in front of him, say, "Nope, I'm going to save my dribble," which is smart. Another thing to look at is when Stedman dribbles, he dribbles with his chest facing the trap, so he doesn't have to turn his body. So when they trap, he retreats, and now he can see both the guy behind the ball, Blaze, make that shorter pass, like by running there. And then you got Nico, who should also run up away from the rotating defender to make this pass easier. But Stedman retreats and throws a really nice pass. So now there's two on the ball, so it's pass, pass. So now, Johnny, all your passes come from your chest. So if you could clock pass, you would throw it right to Keaton for a layup. But since you throw from your chest, you have to throw it super high over the guy. And that's why this doesn't turn into points. So when we deal with the pressure back here really well, it's really important that like we make those 2-on-1 situation plays because then they stop pressuring you as much and then they stop getting out of their traps. And now you're playing normal basketball that you can execute. All right, let's notice another tendency. So when you're on the right side, Stedman, you're dribbling with your left hand while you face the trap. This time you dribble with your right hand. So now you got to cross over, which is time, even though you're facing the trap, and then pull it back. Nonetheless, you did a good job fouling flashes on time. That's good. I'd want him a little bit lower, like this blue line, so that rotating defender won't have a chance. But the ball's already thrown, so let's find a way to catch it clean. Like I don't even want to drop that pass. So that's the pass. So for Johnny, when he messes up on passes, he's throwing from his chest. When Keaton, when you throw it, it's about power. So you always throw from your right shoulder. Like it's predictable. Like you're gonna throw from there no matter what. So that's your right shoulder. This guy can see that and he deflects it. So again, these are back-to-back plays. If you score your layups on those, because you know to throw a 5 o'clock versus a shoulder pass or whatever, they get out that press and then the game becomes a lot easier for everybody. All right, same thing. Luke, when you get this pass, you're gonna throw it from your chest, and one, you cannot put enough power on it. And if it was over your head, like a skip, you could ball fake it, send this guy over there, and then throw it right to the middle. Anyway, you throw it from your chest, so he's able to just run through the pass. So on yours, Fallon, your turnovers. So like I said, Johnny and Luke throw from their chest a lot, and that's kind of like their main passing angle, and that hurts them when somebody's in between them and who they're passing to. You and Keaton throw with your dominant hand, which means you telegraph. So your arm like has to always really cock back. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but that's a telegraph. You're looking right at him. This guy who's guarding both is just gonna run straight through that pass and get the steal. So, like I said, once you start understanding, like, oh, typically I turn it over for these reasons, then you know what drills to rep out, so you cannot make that, make that same mistake. All right. Another thing about passing is passing with touch. So Luke gets the ball. Luke, you can throw that directly to Fallon. The reason you would throw it up is if there's a person in between you and Fallon. So, like I said, as we kind of watch these videos, part one and part two of this, we'll see all the opportunities we had, and we're not converting when we create, turnovers and things. They're not paying for it, is what I'm saying. So now we get a turnover, which is very, very routine play. So all of us got to become, just stronger, better passers. All right, and so we try to get a Barkley for Luke here, but here's yours. Good dive, Fallon. Here's your pass. It should be about location. So, not Fallon, Luke, you should throw it to his outside hand. And since you throw it to his inside hand, that ends up being your turnover. So, like, make sure, like, we're reading. So, turnovers are going to happen for us anyway, passing from our chest, passing from our dominant shoulder side, right? And then location. So, can you throw it on time into the right location? All right, next we're gonna get into catching. I told you everybody needs to learn to juggle by state, which is like the sixth, seventh, sometime around that time. And I just want y'all to see, like, everybody kind of laughs and giggles when I say that, but I'm dead serious. We don't catch the ball well enough. That's gonna help us with rebounds. We need better hand-eye coordination. So we fumble the ball a lot. Fumble, we get the ball, we're not holding it tight. Deflection, fumble. So like the ball comes out of our hands way too often for us to be consistently good, and we got to learn to catch the ball clean. All right, and I know like as we go through some of these, like people are gonna think that like I'm being too hard, but like hey, like the really good players make these plays. Like this needs to be our rebound. We gotta grab it, pull it in, squeeze it. If we can, catch it with two hands if it allows, but it's typically always a deflection. It needs to be clean in our hand. It don't need to be rolling around on the ground. Like like people catch the ball all the time with one hand, then pull the other one in. Nico gets one here where he just gets the rebound, squeezes it. Now Luke got to squeeze the ball, and immediately it's out of our hands. And like it's part of his court mapping. So like if you caught the ball and you can feel this guy right here, catch it and keep the ball on this side of your body, not in the middle. As soon as you bring it middle, there's the deflection. All right. And so like we gotta think like, oh man, I'm not making well, we can't think I'm making the same mistakes as everybody else because that's not a virtue. A virtue is, hey, everybody else makes this mistake, but I can make that play. So that's how we gotta like start thinking. It's like, hey man, if it hit my hands, I need to catch it. All right, so Johnny, we're kind of back to like your passing. This needs to be a left-handed pass. You have plenty of time to throw a left-handed bounce pass right to Carroll. But since this is you going left, you have to throw it over people because he's because that's not your dominant hand. And because of that, you throw an errant pass. I think Carroll needs to stay on the ground more to position himself so he can catch it easier, and his momentum kind of carries him out the play. But hey, at the end of the day, Carroll, find a way to make this play. I mean, I know it's not a good pass, but if you can save that play, that adds value to you. All right. And now they're not getting downhill scoring layups like that. All right. We'll do a little coaching before this one. So right now, Nico does not have to cross half court right now. We never take another man's bet. That's what they say. As soon as you do, now you're stuck and you picked up your dribble. All right. So now we got to throw a miracle pass, and we do. Johnny catches it. Johnny, you gotta make sure you back up sooner. Like, this is gonna sound weird, but you have to like track the ball in the air while it's in the air. Like right now, as you're lifting, I can see that that pass is gonna be long. You need to start backing up right now so you can catch it and not have to catch it off balance on one foot. Because now that breaks time for you to make a really good play. So now that you get it like that, you got to make a quick decision to get out of there. And it's the first thing you kind of do is turn your body. And once your body's turned, it's pretty much going to be really difficult. I do like this. Nico does run to the high spot. I mean, I run to high. But Carol, your job is to sprint corner, and then Stedman should sprint middle. Stedman's about to run high, but he sees Nico's doing it, and Carroll runs middle, which is where Stedman's supposed to go to. So the quicker you can make your triangles as a team, the better. Right now, it just takes us a while to process that. So now they're in a trap, and Johnny's dribbled already, so he throws it. But this is where the catch. Those are the types of catches we got to get consistent in. All right, so let's rewind it. Stedman finds a way with one hand to catch the ball. That's why I say you just find a way. And if you can do that and then make one more play, hey, I'm for it. So that's how you add value to yourself. All right. And I love this play because I love the hustle. But we got to find a way to make sure we come up with that ball. All right. Like it's at some point it's just Stedman and Luke, and together we don't come up with it. It ends up being a fast break. So like I said, if we were better with hand-eye coordination, I think those are passes we would catch. And also, I want y'all to look at like what happens when you don't come up with that ball. Notice every time it was like a fast break the other way. So it's really important that you can make that play because if you just take the fast breaks and transitions of possessions that we should have had off the board, I mean, all through the third quarter, it was like a tie game basically. It was like 27 up with like 4 minutes to go. All right, so now we're going to look at shot selection. This is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell people not to take what shots or anything like that. I just want y'all to think about how these shots look that are off the dribble. So what I did is I clipped up every shot that was off the dribble, and let's just see what we see. And then we decide, are these good shots? All right. So Luke shoots it, gets blocked. And so obviously if you get blocked and you didn't have a chance, it wasn't a good shot. All right, so Luke, you have way too many onboard shots. Like, I'm tired of kind of trying to run the offense. I'm just gonna shoot it. And like I said, these aren't high percentage shots at any level. You just gotta live with like making them guard more offense. All right, and then we drive, and then we kick. Then you can catch and shoot. But the onboard shots, they're low percentage. It's what they want us to take, and we're taking another man's bet. Don't let them sell you into taking those. And then, hey, let's go back and look at the shots that went in. How did they go? What position or what situation was I in? Did it come because somebody drove and kicked? Did I come off the screen right? Was I dribbling when I shot it or was I standing still? And if we start looking at that, we'll know which shots are good or bad. All right, so here's another off the dribble. Now, keep in mind, this ends up being a mid range. And believe it or not, to shoot a mid range, you have to dribble to get to the mid range. All right, but Blaze has hit enough of them where I'm like, oh, okay, I'll let him shoot it. I'll see if he's hot today, and then we'll let it work. But you especially don't want the off the dribble threes. Now, let me back it up. If you catch it and you're kind of center where Nico is, and nobody's guarding you, and you dribble to get closer so you can step into a shot, that's different. But kind of getting in your bag and taking a shot, that's what we don't want. All right, so here we go. Another off the dribble shot. And this isn't Rob. Rob is, are you in range, open, and balanced? Open means somebody's like 2.5 feet or further from you, and that's not the case. And again, like we just can't have this many off the dribble threes, especially because it's not putting pressure on the refs, all right, or the rim. So we got to like pass up on that shot and let us run offense. We got good players, run them. All right, so we run that sideline out of bounds, dribble handoff, dribble, midi. All right, no call, but I'm okay with that because that's the end of the quarter, so you had to shoot it. But at the end of the day, like we gotta understand shot selection a lot better. We gotta take care of the ball with like the catching and the passing. We gotta realize that those are issues. It's not anything against you. It's like, am I consistently doing these things? All right. And so, and what do I need to do to fix them? So let's become a team that self examines first, assume it's your fault first, and then let's look outwardly. I think right now, a lot of times we start off outwardly and we assume it's everybody else except us. So everybody needs to find two things to get better at. By state, y'all need to be able to juggle. I think this is going to be a big indication of how you treat your skill development. All right, there'll be multiple people who don't know how to juggle, and it's because when you tell them to get better at their left hand or split stance or getting paint touches, they hear you and they think because they heard you and they spent one day at the gym doing it, they actually put work in, and so they don't really know what it looks like. So let's make sure everybody grow in two things specifically, at least one on defense and one on offense. And if you're, a big go-getter, get better at two things on each side of the ball. All right. But if everybody does their part, flashing, creating triangles, the statless stats that people don't think about that is allowing us to be successful or not, we need to lock in and make sure we're doing those little things or big things later.